Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. I'm going to try to talk as fast as possible during this entire front portion because I want to try to get out as many shoutouts as possible. First of all, Carl Tarantino, Douglas Griffin, Philip DeFoucault, Sebastian Soberg. Special thanks to them for donating part of the Child's Play stuff. Philip DeFoucault actually donated twice, it looks like. Also, Andrew Webb and Gerben Port have also donated along with Zachary Smith. So special thanks to everybody who's donated thus far. Again, broodwar.chippin.com. This is the bonus commentary to the 10K set, and I'm going to give a couple shoutouts. I guess the most important shoutouts at the top are, of course, Violatak and Bazy, because you guys got me started doing this. You guys rock and continue to keep me motivated, I think. Violatak every once in a while pops back in the community, and he's just amazing, absolutely amazing. Otherwise, beyond that, Moletrap, who we basically started at the same time, and he's the reason I do this as well. Really good. He's basically, more or less, yeah, a really good friend of mine, the guy who knows me best on this planet, probably. Klazart alongside as well, because he basically convinced everybody that commentary is possible, I think. And he's kind of the guy who got me addicted to it, and then felt kind of put that need in me. I was like, oh, I should probably fill in the gap now that he's gone. Beyond that, SC2GG, everybody there, absolutely everybody there. Cholera Rise, Sunday, Blade of Ire, trying to think of everybody, Nuke Ranchin, Matt and Steve, you guys are all awesome. Special thanks, Kenny, Psionic. Psionic Reaver gets a very special shout out for helping me improve all this time, playing games with me, and just being an awesome guy in general. Love you, dude, you rock. And a special shout out to all the EG guys in particular. Especially G5. G5 is one of the first guys to really help me out, and he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, help me. And he did. So both players opening up with Overlord here. This is, by the way, part of an Epic ZvZ, and I'll get down to the Epic ZvZ series down the line. It's going to be a set of 3 commentaries as kind of the trailer bonuses, and then I'll get back to WCG stuff. This is Yellow versus Saint Z-Zone. Yellow is going to be the red Zerg. Saint is going to be the brown Zerg. So Yellow in red. Yellow in red and Saint in brown. You can tell by the NBC in the upper corner. There's the spawning pool to follow, so 12th pool on one edge. It looks like both players opening up a 12th pool, and this is on Byzantium 3, I believe. So the it really, we'll see how it works out, because that inverted ramp can create a lot of problems. It's a little harder to block with Zerglings. You can't really tell how many Zerglings are on top of your ramp unless you have an Overlord in position to do so. It looks like both players wandering out to take their expansions as well, so complete mirror build up this stage, and both players playing in the dark. It looks like their Overlords are going to come across each other at the exact same moment as well. As you can see, they're kind of wandering across the bottom section of the map. Between these two guys, I don't know. Yellow is not all that in practice. Saint was a 2v2 specialist, so we know his micros pretty well. That's usually where you want your 2v2 specialists, is the guy that are really good with the mid-tier units. And honestly, 2v2 Zerg isn't... it's different than 1v1 Zerg, obviously, but it's not so different where the skills aren't completely transferable. I would say that's actually the one area where 2v2 and 1v1 coalesce the most, is in Zerg play, just because you have to rely on a lot of the same elements in 2v2 that you do on 1v1. Obviously, it's kind of an odd statement to make. Zerglings moving across the field, and I think it's more, though, than even Protoss or Terran. And it looks like a single scouting Zergling moving up from Saint, and a single scouting Zergling a little bit later there from Yellow, but creating that front door blockade. Neither player going to have all that much of an advantage. Let's see if these Zerglings crossing might cross paths. They still don't have a, wow, kind of going end around to kind of avoid each other. It looks like just now coming across the corner. I'm kind of curious what was with that, the dash up in the middle of the field, perhaps to avoid each other's Overlords, but almost running into each other's Zerglings. Now actually coming across, so it looks like Yellow's actually going to come back, try to squash this Zergling, or at least send it back home before it can really see anything. I'm not sure if it got a good look at the creep or not. More Zerglings coming out, so it looks like Saint is going to be the aggressor on the initial attack here, and sending one Zergling to the south, maybe to slip it around that back edge. Because keep in mind, on Byzantium, you have that ramp where you can move your way around. Both players, I assume, are teching to layer at this stage. It's kind of the natural progression of this build. So there's that one Zergling coming from the lower edge. Let's see if he can tempt all of these Zerglings up and have that one Zergling on delay come out from underneath. And it doesn't look like he baited it quite well for the timing there. So it looks like he's going to rejoin with that Zergling and just back off. Wait to the next tier of tech. Let's see if he decides to split. Really, we're kind of in the Neo-Com era, I guess, which he just does obvious things, which is leave some Zerglings trailing behind to look for opportunities to sneak attack, counterattack. Doesn't look like Saint is in fact doing that now. I think that seems obvious ZvZ, but you got to be really careful doing that, because it's just, yeah, really short measures, little things that can cost you drones, which can cost you games. More drones being pumped here. I think he's pumping up more Zerglings being pumped here from Yellow, and I think he's pumping a few more Zerglings than he really wanted to. He's still mostly playing in the dark. He doesn't have a really good spot on the edge where Still no Overlord actually over in that corner. I'm kind of curious where Yellow's Overlord is. Did he already pull it out? Not seeing it floating over that expansion, so I'm wondering if he just kind of gave up on it altogether or just didn't move it to the proper position here. It looks like so at the moment it looks like he might just go in for an all-in Zergling attack and try to play it that way, just kind of overwhelm and try to force that advantage. It looks like Saint has plenty of Zerglings though to counter. Plenty of Zerglings indeed, and both players playing it at just about an equal economy, so it's going to come down to just thin measures. It looks like Yellow has been behind though by quite a bit, because those drones have been mining. The 2 drones at the secondary have been mining for quite a while, where for Saint they've been mining for quite a bit longer, so he's going to be up on minerals at least, and I think that's the difference between building a couple Zerglings earlier versus later. Let's see what he can accomplish with this. He's also got some, I guess he's kind of checking out the corners. He's exploring everywhere to make sure that there's no Zergling flank coming through. Again, another artifact of kind of the calm style. Already some Mutalisks being built, but not a lot of Mutalisks actually. It looks like he's mostly sticking to Zerglings, even though he went for the tech, and so it looks like Yellow is actually going to end up ahead with the initial Mutalisks. He's also putting on his additional gas, and I don't know if he had a good indicator, if he really saw that or not. More Zerglings pouring through. It's really up to an all-in Zergling attack now from Saint, because he kind of looks like he missed that timing, and he's going to be behind in Mutalisks overall, and as a result he could end up a little bit lower in area. At the very least he wants to test that front door to make sure that Yellow doesn't use that Mutalisk advantage in the interim to go try to take down some drones or get the overall advantage. So now the Mutalisks coming up, they're going to almost had an opportunity to get some free hits, but gathering up instead, producing some Scourge as well. 2 scouting Zerglings able to sneak through, and Yellow looks like he might be able to get a drone kill out of that with those 2 Zerglings speeding past. Yeah, he's going to be able to get, maybe not. Okay, he's splitting up and going back to the secondary, so let's see if he can get a second kill that way. I think it might have been worthwhile just to suicide in, just running his Scourge all the way up, and just going to get a spot across this. Right now, he's outnumbered though by quite a bit. I think he has more Scourge in the mix, but I don't think he wants to commit them right now. Now having to pull back. Still working on that second gas though, and I don't think Saint has actually taken his second gas, so Yellow, just now taking his second gas, so Yellow's actually in a good position as long as he can keep Saint on the defensive. And I think that's what he was keeping in mind there, so backing up. I think he killed his own Zergling right there to free up a little bit of supply for this next Overlord set. Trying to back his Overlords back to protect them a little bit in here, and he's gonna, I think he'll have to absorb one more attack and or basically keep Saint back to kind of get that gas advantage that he has and kind of shift that over as far as larvae go. Looks like 3 drones, but no drones on minerals, and actually Yellow looks like he's ahead. Zergling somehow manages to sneak in and get a look at all this. He didn't get a good look at the, I think he got a good look at the Scourge count as well, but somehow able to push in for Saint, and that's a pretty sizable advantage at this stage. I'm not sure how good Zerg players are at counting Mutalisk clouds, or you can really pull it off, but it looks like Saint, realizing that he's got to realize that he's behind on the secondary. I think he got a good look at the drone count there, that he's been behind 2 drones this entire time, is going to go for the aggressive attack here. He's going to move those Mutalisks up. He can't just granny his way out of this. Moving up now, it looks like he's got a sizable Mutalisk army. I think Yellow's actually, those have to all be Mutalisk right now, and I think as soon as they hatch, he might actually decide to press out as well. But right now, Yellow's in the superior position. He can kind of hang back and end up with victory, where Saint not mining, well, even if he is mining with equivalent drones at both locations, because of that closer mining pattern, Yellow will still end up ahead just by minuscule amounts, which add up kind of over minutes and over time. 2 Zerglings getting caught out in the field, and that is kind of a 1 larva cost right there, but that did give the precious scouting information to Yellow. He's starting to move up with his units and engaging right now. Looks like he ate a couple Scourge, but he's more Scourge coming up, and it looks like he's going to land with several of them. 2 more running up, and Yellow just kind of ignoring them, pushing in. He's having a little bit of a hard time, you can see with his micro, losing another Mutalisk up in the field. You can see kind of that damage, but he's still going to be able to press forward. He still has more Scourge left over. Scourge being spawned on either side, trying to chase it down. He's got him on the run, but he's not getting those precious hits. Now he's getting the hits on the run that he really needed, and all sorts of Mutalisks dying right there, and I think Yellow is way ahead in this fight. He just needs to, micro it properly, and he's going to get free drone kills on the main, and I think this is going to be the difference right here. Not really bunching up all that well, but he's going to have more Mutalisks to come. But somehow, Saint able to run in some Zerglings up on that secondary to try to even things up. I don't think it's going to be enough by any means, and it looks like, he was able to get some damage on the secondary as well, but just bad. I assume that's just bad or ignorant Zergling micro. He just wasn't out in the field. Still, Yellow should take this out fairly comfortably, because he's going to be able to empty both expansions, and he's going to be able to defend with everything else, and Saint completely out of drones. I'm sorry. So he needs to take out all the drones right here, and he's got to do it with Zerglings in his way and a Mutalisks overhead. So that's going to be it right there. Yellow takes the initial match here. I'm actually not sure how the offlines are working at this stage, if it's best of 3 here, but it looks like yellow is going to advance into the next match. A couple of Scourge getting picked off, but he's got to do it with basically all these units alone, and all yellow has to do actually now is produce a couple Zerglings and make sure they stay alive. And as long as he does that, he'll win, because he can just run them underneath. Instead, he's just going to go headlong into it. Yellow takes the match. GG. Thanks for listening once again, Brood War.